extension, cooperative extension, has had money left over in their budget. They have sent that money back to the county. We authorized to put it into a separate capital reserve fund funded by the surplus from extension. And that, they kept doing that because they do it, and not always lots of money, but just it kept growing. When the commissioners, when the new nursing home was probably up and everybody was out, or maybe before that, the commissioners asked that they wanted a feasibility study of what it would cost to get extension down to the old nursing home. And that feasibility cost, that what it cost was pulled out of the capital reserve for extension that extension did, because that's what they were doing. Now, apparently, whatever we pulled out, there was that $15,000 left over. The delegation had approved that the commissioners would pay that. So part of that has gone to the engineering, the EGA corporation that helped design the new nursing home. And there is money left over, say $8,000 or $7,000 left over, which is what we were talking about for Bonnet, Page and Stone, for the amount of work that they have done to give us the alternatives. I just want everybody to be sure to understand that the feasibility study and the payments for what we do out of here have been paid by extension out of their capital reserve fund, and not have anybody just say that was free money, and so therefore, you know, extension has no vested interest in coming down here. Because I know that that will be another discussion for another day and another vote for what we have to do because of everybody's desire not to expand county government. So that was that. So is that okay? Do you understand where that came from?
I think so.
Whether or not you agree with where it came from, it doesn't, you know, that's where what I was talking about.
Thank you.
And I think Representative Schmidt, did you have your hand up?
No, I think you've pretty much explained it, so I'll take
Okay.
back.
Anybody else want to have a discussion? We have a motion that is on the floor by Representative McConkey, seconded by Representative Umberger. Representative Fleck and then Representative Umberger.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I would like to speak to the motion, and I am going to vote against this. I'm going to vote against it for a couple of reasons at least. First of all, I want to compliment the subcommittee for the work they did. I think that the information they pulled in from Bonnet, Page and Stone and others was very valuable in making the decision. They gave us a good springboard from which to operate. But in that discussion, they very well covered a core area that could be converted to use very quickly. They also indicated that, for instance, the front of the building could be left as it is. It needed no immediate work on the roof or any other part of that facility. Secondly, in terms of the demolition in general, I really have to oppose the tear down of a public building that presents no hazard, is not a hazard to anyone in terms of people occupying that building when they should not. We don't have transients going in there occupying it. There's no indication that anyone is going in there and having drug parties or anything like that. It's not presenting any danger in terms of collapse. That building could very well be allowed to stand, and it could be demolished at any time. So I really am against it. Also, if we were to demolish the wings, I think the tear down of the front portion of that building is really, that simply doesn't make sense. We don't need a blockhouse out there. There is some aesthetic value to the way the building looks right now. There's no reason why that couldn't be preserved. It might be utilized, whether we talk about purchasing, whether we talk about cooperative extension. I think we have uses, without expanding government, we have uses that would save us money. So I have to vote against the motion.
Okay, is there any further, Representative Umberger, I'm sorry.
Yes, just, do we need a sense of the people about adding a statement in there that says demolition will commence on October 2nd? 2012? I mean,
I think your sentence, this action will occur no later than October 1st.
yeah, I mean, I didn't have a problem. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anybody that felt that we needed to put a sentence in there that said that.
No.
Have the commissioners got the idea?
I think so, Madam Chairman, but what Representative Umberger said back a while ago, the wings, if we find somebody who went to rent the wings, then they would pay for the rehab or whatever, and we rent that to them. Okay. I thought you were saying it was just that 3,000 square feet
No,
that we do.
absolutely not.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. We just want to be sure that apparently the 3,000 square feet is free space at this moment and not under any timetable,
But
right?
it will have a new roof over it.
We'll have a new roof over it, but it is not under this October,
No.
no later than October 1st, 2012 deadline.
Absolutely not.
The 4 wings are under the deadline, and
Correct.
apparently the front of the building, that is the solarium, is also under the deadline, so that's the deadline for. Okay. Any further questions?
I have,
Yes, Representative Algren.
okay. I have a problem with using the word an appropriation of $980,000 at this time, because I think it would be wise for us not to appropriate the money until we see more of a finalized plan that what exactly they're going to do with the Corps. Okay, so I don't agree that we should appropriate that much money at this time, but that we should approve the proposal of the March 14th, 2012 bonnet page in stone for the demolition of the wings and the front
I asked, nobody said it.
of the old nursing home building, re-roofing approximately 10,000 feet, and the such. Okay, that we approve that proposal because what we want then is for some more specific plans to be generated before we approve the entire appropriation. Like, we want to see exactly what the plan is. But we should do that, they should be able to, start building out some plans within a few months, like mid-July. We should then do that, and then hopefully we'll get the tenants in, or not. I also think that it's a little ambiguous the way it's worded, that about whether or not the commissioners on the 3,000 square feet, whether we're paying for it or not, the way it's worded. I think it would be wise for us to move the sentence that says the commissioners are authorized to seek tenants for the 3,000 feet of unused space within the 10,000 square feet of the core area retained, to put that before the sentence about the area that's to be demolished and the verbiage discussing whether or not that is for the tenant to pay. Because it kind of implies that you could read it that that's the way it's implied, but if you just reverse the sentences, then it doesn't imply that. You've got the constructs of the 3,000. They're going to seek tenants, and they're going to seek by whatever means. But for that part of it, but in the demolished part of it, we don't want to hear about it unless the tenant is going to pay for it, lock, stock, and barrel. Period. I also, once again, believe that the demolition of the wings in the entry area, shall occur. Shall commence between October 1st and October 30th of 2012. That it is important that is indeed the purposes of this delegation, that we only want the Corps retained and not some future delegation or future Board of Commissioners change the actions that we are proposing today. That the demolition must commence before another delegation or another Board of Commissioners are in office. So I believe it is extremely important that we change that wording, because the implication here is they do not need to start the demolition until after that date, and it could be any date after that, and there could be new plans drawn up. Many things can change, okay? The proposal, the plans, everything can change after we leave office. So if it is the delegation's intent and that we assure to our taxpayers that those buildings are not renovated at a future date, that they be demolished before October 31st.
Well,
Wait a minute.
Can I suggest
Representative
that,
Umberger, and then Merrow, and then Swanson.
can I suggest that if Representative Algren wants to change the motion to the degree that he has said, that he write out a new motion, he write out his motion and present it to us as an amendment so that we can study it in relationship to what we have and decide whether we want to go with his motion or we want to go with this motion. Because the way that he is phrasing it is, you know, we can't put that into here, the way he's just phrased it. Okay, because, you know, we need to have a written something or other that says this is what the motion is. And that's Karen's opinion.
Representative Merrow.
Thank you. Sounds like we're starting all over again.
Yes.
Thank you.
We
Exactly.
we spent a lot of time on this in the subcommittee. I am happy with this, the way it reads. The problem is none of us agree totally on anything on here. Whether you like it or not, politics is the art of compromise. And there has been some compromising here. I'm convinced in my own mind that if this is passed and everybody's worried about co-op, and I've worked this out several times at home just to see, I'm convinced in my own mind that without authorizing any more money from this county, there's a way to get cooperative extension in that 3,000 square foot by passing this the way it is. And I'll leave it at that.
Commissioner Sorensen.
Madam Chairman, I'm unclear. I was at that subcommittee. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If we put this out for bid, and somebody gets the bid, we would be authorized to put a new roof on, to start that process on the core section. The new roof and the laundry. That's probably it. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct.
No, it's not correct.
No.
We can't do anything until...
You can do the roofing, you can do the improvements to the laundry room.
That's
Yeah,
what he just asked.
that's what I just said.
Let me finish. You can do the improvements to the current kitchen area to accommodate
Okay,
maintenance.
yep.
And you can spend money in the design, contingency, equipment, and other soft costs.
Okay,
So that's what we agreed to. We called it 4A, 896, whatever
Yep.
it was.
so as soon as this motion passes, we can send out a bid, specification, general contractor,
You can do
and then
whatever, right. You
do
can-
those
you
3
can
areas. Okay.
Start tearing the roof off if you want.
And then prior to the time that you award that contract, we need to come back as a delegation and look at that contract and approve it.
Would I be out of line if I moved the question?
No, you wouldn't do.
I moved the question.
Okay.
Point of order.
Yes, Representative McCarthy.
I believe according to Masons, you cannot move the question in a committee meeting.
Well, we've certainly done it before.
Yes, we have.
I
But
know.
why don't you just discuss your bit? Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with Representative Algren on one particular point, that this motion, we're approving an appropriation of $980,000. I think it should be changed. I agree with Representative Algren. It maybe say not to exceed $980,000, or just take out the amount altogether and put in there the proposal, BP and Esther's proposal, including Articles 2, 3, 5, 9, 7, and 8, or whatever, rather than actually appropriating money.
I would like to say that the parliamentary position that we are in there is a motion made by Representative McConkey, read as we have in front of us, with the second made by Representative Umberger. If you do not like this motion, what you do is you vote no. If you like the motion, you would vote yes. And if this motion does not pass, it is open for further amendment. That's the parliamentary situation that we are into.
So we're past the amending part now?
No. What, you don't have an amendment, just as Representative Umberger said to Representative Algren. If you want an amendment, give it to us instead of, just saying it. If this motion, if you don't like this motion, then you vote no. If you like this motion, you vote yes. If the motion passes, that's the end of the question. Appropriation 980, whatever you want to do, moving sentences around, is off the table. Unless you have an amendment to the motion right now. And we don't have anything but this in front of us. Yes, Representative Babson.
What kind of a majority do we need on this vote? Majority, 60%, supermajority? It's over $5,000, and I think that we have to have a. I think the question is, the majority of the convention, and what constitutes our convention? That's all of us. And is that all of us here, or all of us in total?
Representative McCarthy.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. That's one of the reasons that the word appropriation, I think, should be taken out. Because if we do in fact appropriate funds, it'll take 2/3 majority of the entire county convention to approve it. If you take out appropriation, and the word that we are approving an appropriation, then it's just a majority vote.
Any deal with that?
I see. Yeah. Representative Umberger and then Algren. Come on, guys. We got to get a little bit of common sense here. I'm getting really PO'd. Go ahead.
So am I.
Representative Umberger. If you don't like the motion, vote against it. Go ahead.
If we don't appropriate the money, they cannot go forward with anything. All they can do is sit on their hands. Because if they don't have any appropriation, they can't spend any money. And that's why you need to appropriate dollars. If you only want to appropriate $100,000, then you change it to read appropriate $100,000. But if you don't have an appropriation, they can't spend the money. That's.
And it's going to cost them to put an RFP out together to be able to do this. And if we don't give them something to do, then that's what happens. And they have to come back to us to approve the contract. That's what we're telling them. So Representative, let's see, Algren, and then McCarthy, and then pretty soon, whether or not Mason says it, we're going to call the question. We'll vote on calling the question, and we will do it because that is what we can do as a delegation. Representative Algren and McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would, suggest to the delegation that my problems with the motion, I do plan on proposing amendments to the motion in piecemeal. But I was trying to give you an idea of what it was in
Just
total.
make an amendment if you want to do that.
Okay, I'd like to.
And we'll wait for Representative McCarthy after you make an amendment on one thing, because we have a motion on the floor.
I'd like to make an amendment to the motion stating that the demolition of the wings and entry area shall occur, or shall commence, between the dates of October 1st, 2012 and October 30th, 2012.
And what sentence is that so we can go to it?
It's near the middle. All I did was, it says demolition of the wings and entry area.
Will not occur.
And, right, and that will remain the same, but my amendment is, from that point on, to say shall commence between the dates of October 1st, 2012 and October 30th of 2012, period. That is the amendment I propose.
Does anybody second that amendment?
I do.
Company, whether they can do it or not.
I do. Representative Algren has moved to add the words at the end of the, I'm going to count, 1, 2, at the end of the third sentence, and read again at the end of the third sentence, and the demolition shall happen between October 1st, 2012 and October 30th, 2012?
Shall commence.
Shall commence.
Demolition of the wings and entry area is already in it, and then the amendment is to strike after that and replace with shall commence between October 1st, 2012 and October 30th of 2012.
Okay.
Okay, so that particular sentence will read, the demolition of the wings and entry area shall commence between 1 October and 31 October
2012.
2012.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I have a question for Representative Algren. Is it also what you said, the proposal only? That you approve the proposal?
This
or
amendment
it
is
still-
this
We're
amendment.
only doing this by sentences.
Right. That's why I said
We're at a
we're breaking it
sentence
down.
here.
That is the amendment that's proposed.
We are on
Just
the
that.
third sentence. We don't have any changes to sentence 1. We don't have any changes to sentence 2. We now have a change to sentence 3. The parliamentary situation is that that sentence 3 will read, demolition of the wings and entry area shall commence between October 1st, 2012 and October 30th, 2012. Period. That's the third sentence. All right? Representative Umberger.
Yes.
If I may speak to one motion.
Well, will you just wait? Representative Umberger.
I have a problem with this motion, and I'll tell you why. As we listen to the presentation that we had last week, the comments were the demolition could take place at any time, and that waiting 6 months probably wasn't a problem. But that didn't mean that on October 1st or 2nd that the demolition would begin. And I have a very difficult time directing someone, whomever it is, that we don't know, to do specific work on a specific day or within a certain number of days. And that, let's say, for example, ABC company is hired to do the demolition. ABC may not be able to mobilize their equipment on the 2nd of October. They may not be able to mobilize their equipment and do the job because it requires infill and it requires planting and it requires any number of other things. They may not be able to start that then. And it may make more sense for them to wait until March to begin the demolition so they can complete all of it at one time. And they can do that at a less cost. And so I cannot vote to tell a company how and when they need to do something. And that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you. Representative Algren, would you do it quickly,
Yes,
please?
thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to thank the representative for articulating my exact point, is that if they do not commence it between those two time frames, then they would be able to commence it in March, and there will be a different delegation, and there will be a different Board of Commissioners, and they can change all the actions that we are proposing today to not demolish those buildings. They can change everything. Okay, and so if you want to assure that these plans will be undertaken and to our desire, which I believe is the desire of this delegation, then I encourage you and strongly recommend that you vote for this amendment.
Thank you. Representative McCarthy, do you have something quickly to say?
Yes, Madam Chair, just a point of order. I'd like everybody to understand, this is from Chapter 33 of the Municipal Finance Act, Section 33(3) Alpha, Roman numeral 2. If after notes or bonds have been issued, if a balance remains after completion of the project or projects for which the debt was authorized, a county, by a 2/3 vote of all the members of the county convention, may authorize the expenditure of some or sums from that bond. So if you're going to authorize an appropriation, it takes a 2/3 vote of the county
Entire
convention.
delegation or those present and voting?
Pardon me?
Is it of the entire
Now,
delegation?
the
or
wording is a 2/3 vote of all the members of the county convention.
All right, thank you very much. So we now have, what is that, what do we have to, what's 2/3 of 14?
I think it's 10. What is it? I'll figure that out. I just, as a point of order, that a 2/3 vote isn't necessary for this amendment. Only a majority will be necessary to amend the motion, and then the final vote would be a 2/3 vote.
Representative McConkey.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Would the authors of the amendment consider shall commence no later than October 30th, 2012? I think it might address the concerns of Representative Unberger. Something starts coming down. Those things start coming down, but if cleaning up and everything else were to take longer, but we're telling them that it must commence, because you're not saying it has to finish anyways. I'm suggesting that possibly the in-between position might be that they must commence no later than October 30th, 2012. That would allow them to start earlier if they need to, which is one concern, but it's this delegation's decision, not the next delegation. So I just ask if you might consider that change as a compromise.
I consider that eligible. I was just going along with the current motion, didn't want them to start before, so I accept that as a friendly amendment.
So there's an amendment by Representative McConkey, and would you give me the words, please?
Demolition of the wings and entry, same sentence. Demolition of the wings and entry shall commence no later than October 30th, 2012, period. So if the commissioners deemed it made financial sense and they didn't have a tenant and they knew it wasn't going to happen, they could start earlier.
Instead of having that, I'm going to have that as a friendly amendment. Hopefully that will do it, that Representative Algren and Turganza agree with that.
Sure. Yeah,
okay.
That's great.
And so we're going to take off October 1st.
Yeah.
Shall commence on no
Not
later than.
On or before or by.
No later than. Okay. Is everybody there with the amendment? Okay. All those in favor of the amendment, raise your hand. Five. What are you good? Did you do 6?
Yeah, why not?
Wait,
Okay.
let's have a recount.
Okay, there's McConkey, Schmidt, Merrill. There's 4. Turganza's 4. Umberger is 5. Algren is 6. McCarthy is 7. Those opposed, 4. Okay. Now, that sentence is changed. What's the next sentence is number 4. Do we have any changes for next sentence number 4? Do we have any changes for sentence 5? Do we have change? What?
Well, is that the commissioner are also?
That's sentence 6. We haven't got there
Okay,
yet.
I'm sorry, I'm counting lines.
The next sentence is the commissioners, and that is sentence 6. Do you have any changes to sentence 6?
Yes,
Yes.
I'd like to amend the motion such that sentence 6 is inserted before, I'm sorry, I gotta find where it should go. It would be inserted to be directly after that previous amendment.
move sentence 6 to right after sentence 3.
Correct, thank you.